this, influencer marketing, it has definitely become a thing. The popularity of several stars and the imbalanced scale of businesses online versus how popular they are, it's created a new marketing space that, if you're being realistic, has remained largely undefined and unregulated. Now, influencer marketing leverages the credibility of a popular content creator, to promote a brand through paid endorsements, recommendations as well. Now, why do we do this? Partnering with influencers gives you direct access to prospects that need or want to buy your product, who would ordinarily never have seen your brand, because there are so many people online doing the exact same thing as you. So you want to push that brand, you need to get someone to help you push it. It's more like posting or just even sharing images. But now there's been several questions around this. When should you do this? How should you do this? What happens when it doesn't go the right way? Who do you even meet? How does it even work? What are the realities of influencer marketing? Now, today on the show, Rise 360 with me, Akinsola, a Nigerian fashion entrepreneur and the brilliant mind behind Fast Tracker. It's quite an interesting concept. So it's a leading fashion company that is dedicated to bridging the gap between reputable and sustainable fashion brands, of course, customers as well. Now, what they have with this e-commerce platform is basically successfully, bridging the gap between the clients, the wholesale experience, every single person involved in this particular experience, from the clients to the customers, all the parties involved. Wumi joins me now on Arise 360, live from our Lagos studio. Great to have you on the show, Wumi. So let's talk about this. I'm sure you've heard about all the questions around influencer marketing. And the case study for this conversation, of course, would be Plugg, who was on an interview, and then she was asked about the brands she was wearing. And then she said, she was wearing Van Cleef here, Alexander Wang there, Dior there, mentioned a couple of brands. And then when it came to the Nigerian brand, the brand where she bought the dress, I must emphasize, it's not a ready-to-wear brand. Just so we're clear, it was a dress she bought from someone who bought it from somewhere else that is not even a Nigerian brand. And she said, I wouldn't tell you where I bought my dress. They have to pay for marketing. So what she was referring to there was basically what we will term as influencer marketing. But then how do we balance the scale? Because now the conversation is, how do you support the Nigerian brands, but then how do you also make your money as an influencer? As a fashion entrepreneur, perhaps you can shed some light on this situation.
Thank you very much for having me. I think in my experience with influencer marketing, what I know is that influencers tend to have a rate with which they would produce in order to publish a brand's product or publish a brand's images. And in this situation, I think that there's probably that communication probably wasn't there. And I just think that honestly, it's up to the influencer whether they choose to publish your post or publish your product or not, especially if you don't have any kind of written agreement, which in this case, I doubt that they did. However, obviously from the goodwill of one's heart, you should, if someone gifts you product repeatedly, I do believe that you should share their product. You should share the handle of where you got the product from. But honestly, it's not a requirement, and technically she didn't do anything wrong, but obviously morally maybe she is teetering on the line of not being very nice.
Now I wanted to talk about, because you have fashion, just so before we delve into the nitty-gritty and how it relates to this, you have your brand, it's Fast Tracker, that's what it's called. And in a way, I would say that kind of takes away the need for influencers, because that's why we're having this conversation. Because if we didn't have social media content creators who you would say, this person has 1 million followers, I really want this person to just do her next video wearing my dress. If you didn't want that, you wouldn't gift your dress out for free, because you need that publicity. You need people to see the dress, like it, and buy it. But now you've created a space where it kind of just takes away the whole drama of influencer marketing, which I obviously can tell is a lot of stress, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a lot of stress, if I'm being honest. If you are an experienced entrepreneur and you know that you have to have written contracts and things laid out very clearly and have agreements, then it's not particularly complicated. But you are right in the sense that to a certain extent, influencer marketing can be, is not so important with regards to the work that we're doing, because we create our own content, and we use other means like advertisements, and just pushing the brand, leveraging the brand's networks as well. So in that situation, influencer marketing is not necessarily, the most important aspect of our business.
Makes a lot of sense, because and my next question to you now is, should it be? Because what this has taught us, I was even dragged into the conversation. I commented on my colleague Rotu Soduri's post about this, and I basically said, I don't know why this is an issue. Why are we making this such a problem? These people are paid for this, unless there's something else afoot. Like maybe, oh, hey, she was paid to promote this brand and then she didn't. But as a brand, this is what these influencers, the Gen Z influencers now, this is their business. They will not say a word unless you're dropping bank. So that's where we are right now. So should it even be that way? Should we be giving, because I feel we've now created a space where even people who cannot even afford these influencers are now thinking, okay, so what happens to us now? We should just hide under the table because we cannot afford your 1 millionaire for just a 30-second post. So should we even have this influencer marketing space? Because there's such a huge, there's a huge gap. Sometimes influencers promote things and it's not even real. I've promoted brands and I had some of my followers go to the brand and the customer service was terrible. I ended up apologizing. So do we even need this space? Is it necessary?
I think it definitely is necessary. I think that as much as we don't necessarily utilize influencer marketing mostly because of budgetary reasons, it is the future of marketing with regards to the internet space anyway. And it is a means of livelihood for a group of people, whether we like it or not. And they do have their rates, they do have their charges. And I do think that we should honor those charges. And if you can't afford it, there are so many other avenues for advertising. You can advertise on Instagram, you can advertise on the radio, you can advertise, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, but people do know the value of influencer marketing. They do produce and provide a lot of value, and that value should be paid for because they also invest in their brands. They also invest in building their followers. It's not, they didn't just wake up in the morning and have 1 million followers. They've actually spent money creating content, getting professional photography, professional videography, buying clothes, makeup, just in order to create great content so that, they can build their following.
Now,
and, we're launching fast.
No, please go ahead. You were just talking about, go ahead, please, go ahead.
Okay, so we're launching Fast Tracker in a couple of days on the 28th of February, 2023. Sorry, on the 20th of July, 2023. And we are essentially launching our own in-house brand. And we are leveraging influencers. And some of these influencers, if I'm being honest, have asked for a payment. So basically what they've done is some people who have asked for a payment have said, you know what, yeah, we'd love to have this item. However, we're not guaranteeing a post. We're not guaranteeing pushing your product. We will do this in our own time. And if you're okay with that, then feel free to send this gift. And some have said, we don't accept gift. We only post content or push products in which that we've been paid to push. So I think it really is a communication issue. Everyone has their budget, everyone has their bandwidth, everyone has, their goals. So it really is up to you. But I think, to be honest, communication is probably the most important aspect of this conversation.
Couldn't agree with you more. Now, just before we wrap this up, for benefit of the people who actually created your outfit, because I'm definitely wearing a Nigerian brand today. So would you mind telling us who you're wearing today?
So I'm wearing Fast Tracker. So this is part of our collection that we'll be launching in 2 days on the 28th of July. And it's available on www.fasttracker.com from the 20th of July. And you can sign up now on the website so that you get a notification when we do go live.
And
follow us on Instagram.
Wumi, you just FYI, Wumi, that's like $1 billion right there for that ad. But really though, congratulations on what you're doing. I think you guys are creating beautiful pieces already, and we can't wait to see what else you come up with. I, on the other hand, am wearing a completely different brand, Seve Borbala. He's based in Abuja and he makes most of my clothes. I have brands I would wear and I wouldn't highlight, by the way, because I mean, if you're going to charge me that outrageous, honey, you're going to pay for that ad. But hey, I guess like you said, it boils down to communication. Wumi, good luck to you and the launch of your project. I really look forward to seeing how it plays out. Hopefully we can have you back on the show to talk about just how well it's been going. Thanks for joining us on the show.